Bro, Yu-Gi-Oh! GX is one of those animes that starts off super chill. School vibes, duels happening left and right, and out of nowhere, it spirals into full-blown existential chaos with monsters and parallel dimensions. Today, we're diving back into Jaden Yuki's wild journey, from freshman at Duel Academy to the hero of interdimensional showdowns. So sit back, relax, and let's get into the story. Jaden's determined not to miss the entrance exams for Duel Academy, and when you chase your dreams, well, you're bound to trip over something. Sure enough, while sprinting to the test, he bumps into some random guy who, out of nowhere, hands him a shiny card and says,
"Something just tells me that it belongs with you."
The card? Winged Kuriboh. It looks like just another cute mascot, but Jaden feels there's something special about it. Classic protagonist intuition. At the Academy, the vibe is straight up championship final. Tears, show-offs, and big names like Chaz Princeton and Bastion Masawa strutting around like they're A-listers at an award show. Jaden makes it just in time, but almost gets turned away by Dr. Crowler. But Crowler's not playing nice. Instead of a basic test deck, he whips out his own personal deck loaded with destruction. The duel begins. Jaden summons elemental hero Avian, sets a face-down card, and goes on the offensive. Crowler claps back with confiscation, yanks a crucial card right out of Jaden's hand, clears the field with heavy storm, and summons his pride and joy, Ancient Gear Golem. Basically a walking tank that looks like it belongs in a Michael Bay movie. The golem's attack is brutal. Everyone's convinced Jaden's toast, but he just smiles and throws down Winged Kuriboh. Thanks to its effect, his life points survive the turn. The crowd's reaction is a mix of, "Wait, what?" and "No way." Crowler, meanwhile, is fuming. Next up, Jaden plays Hero Signal to bring out Burstinatrix, uses the Warrior returning alive to get Avian back, and fuses the two with Polymerization. Boom. Elemental Hero Flame Wingman hits the field. The crowd goes wild, but the golem's still stronger. Then comes the game changer, Skyscraper. This field spell gives Flame Wingman the power boost he needs. He takes down the golem and, with his special ability, dishes out extra damage straight to Crowler's life points. Game over. Crowler loses, and it's not even close. Tried to flex, but ended up flat on his face. Crowler's defeated expression is priceless. Victorious, Jaden teams up with Cyrus and officially secures his spot at Duel Academy. Our main guy shows up at Duel Academy, all fired up to kick off his journey. Over the loudspeakers, they announce that they're about to land on Academy Island, where students will eat, sleep, and, of course, duel. As soon as they set foot on the island, they're greeted by Chancellor Shepard, who lays out the dorm system. Basically, it's a fancy way of ranking students. Blue Obelisk is for the top dogs, Yellow Raw is for the solid middle tier, and Red Slifer, well, let's just say that's where they send the underdogs. Naturally, Jaden and his new buddy Cyrus end up in Slifer Red, the better luck next time dorm. Once they get to their room, they meet Chumley, who doesn't sugarcoat it. Slifer Red is basically the bottom of the barrel. Later, while exploring the island, Jaden and Cyrus stumble across the Blue Obelisk arena and run into none other than Chaz Princeton, one of the top duelists in the whole school. Jaden, being Jaden, challenges him to a midnight duel and even throws his best cards on the line. At the Slifer Red welcome dinner, the students meet Professor Banner. He tries to get everyone to introduce themselves before eating, but Jaden, starving like he hasn't seen food in days, cuts straight to the chase. The food's nothing fancy, basically school cafeteria standards, but the vibe is pretty chill. Come midnight, it's game time. Jaden faces off against Chaz in the arena. Chaz plays his reborn zombie and pulls a sneaky move with Chthonian Polymer to hijack Jaden's Flame Wingman. But Jaden isn't phased. He fires back with Mirror Gate, snatching his monster right back. The duel stays neck and neck until campus security busts in, shutting it down because, apparently, midnight duels aren't exactly on the official school schedule. Chaz calls it off, saying he's seen enough, and trash talks Jaden on his way out. But Jaden's not bothered. He reveals he still had a monster reborn up his sleeve, ready to bring back Flame Wingman and turn the tables. It all ends with Alexis Rhodes approaching Jaden, clearly impressed by his skills. It feels like this is just the beginning of something big at Duel Academy. We kick things off with yet another class from Professor Crowler, where, as usual, he seems to care about everything except actually teaching. The guy's basically running a fan club for the Obelisk Blue students, showering Alexis with praise when she nails an answer about the types of cards in duel monsters. Meanwhile, poor Cyrus from the Slifer Red dorm totally fumbles trying to explain what a field spell is. The class bursts out laughing, and Crowler takes the chance to humiliate him, going as far as banning all the Red dorm students from participating. But Jaden's not having it. He steps in to defend Cyrus and throws in a little reminder that, oh yeah, he already beat Crowler in a duel. That, of course, sends Crowler's blood pressure through the roof. Determined to get payback, Crowler sets a trap. He sneaks something into Jaden's shoes. Later, Cyrus finds the card and, bless him, thinks it's a love note from Alexis. Hyped up, he heads to the meeting spot behind the girls' dorm, but runs straight into the female students. Alexis quickly realizes something's off, especially since her name is horribly misspelled on the note. Jaden shows up after getting wind of the situation, and you guessed it, he's also accused of sneaking around. The girls throw down a challenge. If he can beat Alexis in a duel, they'll let it slide. No snitching. He's in. The duel kicks off with Alexis summoning Etoile Cyber and pulling off some slick moves. Jaden fires back with Sparkman. The match stays tight, with Alexis holding her ground thanks to Cyber Blader. As things heat up, Jaden plays Monster Reborn to bring back Sparkman, summons Clayman, and fuses them to call forth Thunder Giant. With its special ability, he wipes out Cyber Blader and finishes things off with a direct attack. Victory. Jaden saves both himself and Cyrus from getting kicked out. Alexis takes the loss with grace and agrees to keep the whole incident quiet. Cyrus wakes up in a full-blown panic, convinced he's gonna flunk out and be stuck forever in Slifer Red, basically the bottom tier of dorm life. Jaden, he's out cold, sleeping like exams are just an urban legend. And Chumley, he's too busy stressing over the practical test, secretly praying Jaden keeps snoozing so he won't have to duel him. Naturally, this all ends with them running late, but even in a rush, Jaden being Jaden, stops to help an old lady with her car. But hey, heart of gold, he shows up to the written exam at the literal last second, rocking the confidence of someone who thinks they can ace the test purely on charm. Spoiler alert, he didn't study at all. The second the written test ends, the whole school turns into an Olympic sprint towards the card shop. The rare cards just dropped, and it's total chaos. But plot twist, some random guy already wiped out the whole stock. He played the system and got there first, leaving the rest of the students staring at empty shelves. Dirty move? For sure. Against the rules? Unfortunately, no. There's exactly one booster pack left. And what does Jaden do? Hands it over to Cyrus. No hesitation. Even knowing he'll need new cards for the practical exam, Jaden puts friendship first. Confidence? Let's just say he's got plenty to spare. Maybe a little too much. Meanwhile, Dr. Crowler, driven entirely by pure spite, decides to stack the deck against Jaden. He slips Chaz some rare cards and rigs the opponent draw so Jaden has to face him. Sportsmanship. Never heard of it. The goal? Humiliate Jaden in front of everyone. The duel kicks off, and Chaz comes out swinging. He floods the field with powerful monsters, crazy combos, and rare cards like he's playing in a pro tournament. It looks like game over for Jaden until he pulls Winged Karibo, activates Transcendent Wings, and flips the duel on its head in the most epic way possible. Impressed, the headmaster promotes Jaden to raw yellow, giving him major props for his skill and courage. And Jaden, he's cool with it, but instead of moving to the fancier dorm, he decides to stick it out in Slifer Red with his friends. Because sure, prestige is nice, but it's not worth trading in your crew. And let's be real, without Cyrus and Chumley, even a dorm with clean sheets wouldn't feel like home. On a full moon night, basically the perfect setup for a good old-fashioned school horror story, the students of Duel Academy gather to swap spooky tales. Because, you know, what could possibly go wrong when a bunch of duelists start messing around with ghost stories at midnight? Cyrus kicks things off with a creepy one. He talks about seeing a cave under the moonlight, and inside it, a mysterious lake. At the bottom, a rare card is shining, but just as he reaches for it, a hand shoots out and drags him under. His story ends in a scream, which of course just earns him a bunch of laughs and teasing from the group. Then it's Jaden's turn. He shares that he used to hear voices at night when he was a kid, thought it was just dreams, but lately they've started coming back. He tries to play it off with a few jokes, but yeah, the mood definitely gets a bit heavier. That's when Banner shows up, overhears the conversation, and drops a bombshell. There's an abandoned dorm somewhere on the island. Officially, it got shut down after a series of mysterious disappearances. Rumor has it the place is connected to the Shadow Games. You know, those mystical, dangerous duels. Nobody really buys it, at least not yet. Meanwhile, elsewhere on the island, a shadowy duelist brutally defeats another man.
What I want is your soul.
He's been hired by some shady figure to terrify a student from Duel Academy until they either give up or vanish without a trace. The next day, despite knowing they could get expelled, Jaden, Cyrus, and Chumley decide to check out the abandoned dorm. Along the way, they crack jokes about being scared of the dark, dirty water, and, of course, whether anyone here has actually taken a bath lately. But once they arrive, the atmosphere shifts completely. Alexis joins them and reveals something personal. One of the people who went missing was her brother. With that, the whole crew steps inside the building. Not long after, they hear a scream. They rush to find her, but all that's left is her Duel Monsters card, lying on the ground. Jaden and Cyrus come face to face with the Shadow Duelist. He tells them Alexis is trapped in the Shadow Realm, and the only way to save her is for Jaden to win a Shadow game. But this isn't your regular duel. The fog covers the field, and the attacks? Yeah, they actually hurt. The villain summons his Archfiends, powered up by the field spell Pandemonium. Jaden fires back with Mirror Gate, but the enemy triggers Terra King Archfiend's dice roll effect, and luck, unfortunately, is not on Jaden's side. Still, he doesn't back down. He plays Hero Signal, brings out Clayman, then fuses him with Sparkman to summon Thunder Giant. The villain tries his luck again, and wins. The fog tightens its grip, suffocating the field. Cyrus can barely breathe. Jaden, trapped and frozen in place, still refuses to give up. His determination burns on. Jaden starts to waver. I mean, hard to stay focused when your soul's basically riding on a Vegas magic trick. But then, enter the unlikely hero, Winged Karibo. His entrance is so epic, you can practically hear Circle of Life playing in the background. That's when Jaden has his lightbulb moment. This isn't even a real shadow game. It's just low-budget hypnosis with special effects that make even James Cameron blush. With his head cleared, Jaden activates Dark Catapulter, clears the graveyard, and banishes Pandemonium straight to the Shadow Realm. The villain, now looking like a dollar store magician with a knockoff Millennium item, takes a verbal jab from Jaden, who calls him a circus act. Gotta love the shade. Desperate to salvage what little pride he has left, the villain summons Skull Archfiend of Lightning, but Jaden's firing on all creative cylinders. He plays Bubble Man, activates Bubble Shuffle, and pulls off a fusion play that would have Yugi himself clapping from the astral plane. Elemental hero Bladage, locked and loaded to end this charade. Bladage wipes out the final monster. Alexis wakes up, and they all head back to the academy. Crowler goes to confront the Shadow Duelist, but all he finds is the Pandemonium card. Zane's outside, having this super introspective moment when Alexis shows up, but instead of it being a friendly vibe, things get kinda awkward. Alexis, trying to break the ice, says she thought he'd be happier with Cyrus finally arriving, but then Zane hits her with one of those lines.
Well, maybe that's because my brother shouldn't be here.
Then, peace and quiet go right out the window when the dreaded disciplinary action squad rolls in. Because, let's be honest, what school anime doesn't have some over-the-top wannabe military squad? They come at our main character with all the subtlety of a sledgehammer. Jaden and Cyrus are in big trouble for sneaking into the abandoned dorm. An anonymous tip. The punishment? Straight up expulsion. At the disciplinary hearing, the teachers are split. Some are ready to kick them out, others try to cut them some slack. Crowler throws out a crazy idea. Settle it with a tag duel. If they win, they stay. If they lose, they better start packing. Jaden's all in, of course. Cyrus, total meltdown. If they lose, he's dragging Jaden down with him. Alexis and Chumley try to take the blame, but the Chancellor shuts that down quick. Jaden's partner has to be Cyrus. Back in the dorm, Cyrus spirals hard, convinced he's dead weight, but Jaden, flipping to full motivational speaker mode, won't let him give up. They're gonna train, turn this around, and fight back. Only the training doesn't exactly go smoothly. Cyrus keeps messing up, gets more discouraged, and sinks deeper into his self-doubt until he flashes back to the root of it all, childhood trauma, courtesy of Zane, who once humiliated him by saying he wasn't worthy of using the power bond card. That wound never healed. Even so, Cyrus tries to push through. He actually does better in training, but Jaden calls it for the day with his usual style. Cyrus admits something heavy. He could have won before, if he'd used power bond, but he didn't. He was too scared, too convinced he wasn't good enough. Jaden shuts that down immediately. Cyrus has what it takes. He just needs to believe it. And then, the cherry on top. Alexis drops the bomb that Zane is literally the best duelist in the whole academy. Cyrus is floored. But Jaden does the most Jaden thing ever. He grins and decides to challenge Zane himself. Not out of ego, but to help Cyrus finally step out of his brother's shadow. Jaden smiles. The duel is coming. Cyrus has a brother, but not just any brother. It's none other than Zane Truesdale, the Lionel Messi of Duel Monsters, the Tom Cruise of Obelisk Blue. Jaden, being about 90% attitude and 10% common sense, doesn't even think twice and goes straight for the challenge against Zane, because of course, what better way to lift your insecure friend's spirits than to take on the undefeated champion of the school? And as if that wasn't crazy enough, there's a catch. If Jaden and Cyrus lose this next tag team duel, they're both getting kicked out of Duel Academy. And Cyrus in all this, he's convinced he's just gonna drag Jaden down, totally panics, and straight up runs away from the academy, leaving behind that classic goodbye letter. Now things go full drama mode. Jaden, Chumley, and even Winged Karibo join the search party. They find Cyrus by the beach, trying to sail off on a sketchy-looking raft. Minor detail, the dude can't swim. He's already yelling for help and Jaden sprints to save him. But this rescue isn't about battling monsters. It's about words. Cyrus breaks down, admitting he's not good enough, that Zane was right all along, and who shows up at that exact moment? Of course, Zane. The tension? Off the charts. Cyrus can barely look his brother in the eye as Zane drops the final blow. You don't belong here, but Jaden isn't having it. He challenges Zane on the spot, basically shouting, "This is for you, Cyrus, and for everyone who's ever felt like garbage standing next to someone brilliant." Zane accepts the challenge, flashing a crooked smile.
Sure, why not? After all, it's been a while since I went slumming.
Jaden opens with Elemental Hero Avian and sets a trap card. Zane doesn't waste time. He summons Cyber Dragon, wipes the field clean, and activates Different Dimension Capsule. 2 turns, and the capsule's coming back. Jaden fights back with Thunder Giant, smashing the Cyber Dragon, but Zane pulls Monster Reborn, brings out 2 Cyber Dragons, and fuses them into Cyber Twin Dragon. Double attack mode. The tables turn fast. Jaden, never the type to back down, activates A Hero Emerges, summons Rottweiler, recovers some cards, brings out Bubbleman and Clayman, and fuses them into Mudballman, an absolute brick wall of defense. The duel evens out. Then, Zane cracks open the capsule. Power Bond. He activates Diffusion, splits his dragons, fuses 3 Cyber Dragons into Cyber End Dragon, and with Power Bond, its attack points skyrocket. Super Strident Blaze. Jaden goes down, but he doesn't hang his head. Zane, cold as ever, at least respects Jaden's guts. And, more importantly, the bond between him and Cyrus. In the end, Cyrus finally gets it. It was never about the card, it was about learning how to use it. The trio wraps things up, chatting about grilled cheese sandwiches and ready for whatever insanity comes next. At the Ultra Elite Duel Academy, Professor Crowler can barely contain his disgust every time he lays eyes on the Slifer Red students. To him, they're basically walking disasters in school uniforms, polluting his precious campus. But there's one student who drives him completely up the wall, Jaden Yuki, the poster child for academic laziness. Enter Chaz, always desperate for his shot at glory. He practically begs to be picked for the duel against Jaden and Cyrus, but Crowler, even though he knows Chaz has skills, would rather leave this job to the professionals, because if you're gonna rig a duel, you better do it in style. As with all juicy secrets, word about the duel spreads like wildfire. Cyrus freaks out, Jaden stays as cool as ever, and Chumley tries to ease the tension with jokes and snacks. Duel day arrives, and Crowler unveils his champions, the Paradox Brothers. These guys are cheesy, full of rhymes, massively egotistical, and seriously dangerous. They've even faced the king of games himself. The crowd gasps. Cyrus nearly passes out on the spot. Cyrus kicks things off with his gyroid, which lands like a flat joke at open mic nights. The Paradox Brothers dominate early, summoning Kazejin, Suijin, and Sanga of the Thunder to set up their ultimate move, the dreaded Gate Guardian. Cyrus is drowning in pressure, but then Jaden steps in, cool as ever, with his Rampart Blaster, landing a solid hit and reigniting a flicker of hope. Cyrus tries to rally, but the moment's short-lived. With moves like Mystical Space Typhoon and Judgment of Anubis, the brothers slam Cyrus back down. He becomes the laughingstock of the crowd, while Crowler is low-key celebrating inside. With Cyrus practically out of the game, it all falls on Jaden's shoulders. His friend's future and the outcome of the duel are now entirely in his hands.
They're not right, Cy. I know, cause you're gonna be the one to take that thing down.
Jaden steps up, summons Sparkman with Spark Blaster, and weakens the Gate Guardian. That fires Cyrus right back up. He calls out Drillroid, plays Shield Crush, and takes the monster down. The crowd goes wild. These two are working together like peanut butter and jelly. Simple, classic, unstoppable. But of course the bad guys aren't done yet. They summon Dark Guardian, a monster that's straight up invincible in battle. Things are looking rough. Jaden hangs in there using Hero Barrier to keep Sparkman alive. Then plays Fusion Gate to summon Elemental Hero Tempest. Powerful, flashy, but still not enough to finish the job. The Paradox Brothers fire back with a trap card, forcing their monsters into another showdown. But Cyrus, now channeling full Rocky Balboa energy, spots the winning move. He sacrifices Drillroid, summons UFO-Roid, activates Power Bond, and fuses them into UFO-Roid Fighter with double attack power. The direct damage seals the deal. The crowd goes nuts. Chumley's in tears. Crowler's pretending to be happy. Chaz is deep in denial. Even Principal Shepard shows up to give them the official stamp of approval. But just as the celebration hits its peak, reality crashes the party. Shepard demands a full written report on the duel. After beating the biggest challenge of his life, now he's got to do homework? Now that's a plot twist. The next day, it was just meant to be a chill baseball game between friends at Duel Academy. You know, a little break from all the dramatic monster summons and yelling, "It's time to duel." But of course, Jaden treats it like it's Game 7 of the World Series with his life on the line. The vibes light, laughs, jokes, that nagging feeling that something is definitely about to go sideways. Jaden gets picked as the pitcher, promising to throw a ball on fire. Cue the dramatic scene. Cheesy background music, over-the-top poses. He winds up, lets it rip, and nails Dr. Crowler right in the face. Crashes to the ground, and right then and there decides, yep, Bastion's gonna be my new protege. Because clearly, that's how career moves happen, by taking a fastball to the face. Meanwhile, Chaz Princeton is fuming. After getting humiliated by Jaden, he now has to duel Bastion. And the stakes? Oh, just just his dorm room. Yeah, at Duel Academy. Losing a duel means getting downgraded to a worse dorm, like betting your bunk bed in a high-stakes game of Uno. Later, Bastion invites Jaden and Cyrus over to check out his room, which is basically a full-blown science lab. There are formulas scribbled all over the walls, decks organized by type, attribute, maybe even moon phase. But hey, he's a good sport. They paint the ceiling together, and Bastion crashes in the Slifer red dorm because his own room ended up covered in paint. But Chaz isn't done scheming. The next morning, cards are scattered all over the dock. Bastion's deck trashed. Jaden spots it immediately. Alexis and Zane back him up, saying they saw Chaz nearby. Naturally, Chaz denies everything. Classic anime villain move. Deny, 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 even with the evidence staring you in the face. Still, Bastion keeps his cool. He just grabs another deck, because of course he has spares, and faces off against Chaz. The duel kicks off. Bastion summons Hydrogeddon and Oxyget. Chaz counters with Chthonian Soldier, and then the mighty Infernal Incinerator. Things heat up, literally, but Bastion stays chill. He activates bonding H2O, sacrifices his monsters, and summons the Water Dragon, dropping all fire monsters' attack points to 0. Clean win. Chaz, totally rattled, tries to play it off as luck. Bastion coolly replies, luck favors the prepared. Crowler offers him a spot in the Elite Obelisk Blue Dorm. Bastion declines. He'll only move up when he's the undisputed #1, and right now, that title, he admits, belongs to Jaden. Jaden nearly bursts with excitement, but Bastion pulls back. Not yet. He needs to study more. A new day dawns at Duel Academy. Sunshine for some, secondhand embarrassment for others. But today, the vibe's weirder than a rookie deck at regionals. In the middle of the usual campus hustle, steps in Gerard, a grown man who looks like he took the wrong turn to career day, camera in hand, and with the nose of a reporter. He's not here to duel. He's here to sniff out mysteries. And if there's one place crawling with the supernatural, it's this school, between sneaky steps and random interviews. Gerard stumbles onto a hot lead. Rumors of disappearing students and an abandoned dorm nobody wants to talk about. Classic recipe for a solid mystery story. Meanwhile, big news electrifies the academy. The annual face-off against North Academy is coming up. Normally, Zane Truesdale would be the obvious pick to represent Duel Academy, but North Academy threw a curveball and sent a freshman to duel. In a bold move, the headmaster decides to do the same and picks a freshman of his own, Jaden Yuki, the most hyped-up student in Slifer Red. The choice sparks debate. Crowler, feeling his pride take a hit, suggests Bastion Masawa, the genius from Raw Yellow. The headmaster turns it into a showdown. Whoever wins between Jaden and Bastion will represent the school. Because at Duel Academy, every argument ends with a duel. Jaden, as always, keeps his cool. Bastion, ever the strategist, studies Jaden's deck and spots a weakness. Every one of Jaden's fusions relies on the polymerization card, so Bastion builds a deck tailor-made to shut it down. The duel kicks off. The arena's packed. Bastion comes in with a full-blown game plan. Jaden comes in with pure guts. Jaden opens strong, summoning Burstinatrix and throwing down fast attacks. Bastion counters with Oxygeddon and Hydrogeddon, and then brings out the heavy artillery, Water Dragon, summoned with bonding, H2O. Jaden gears up for a triple fusion play, but Bastion slams the brakes with Cursed Seal of the Forbidden Spell, locking polymerization out for the rest of the match. Jaden just lost his main weapon. The crowd gasps. Meanwhile, off the field, we've got Gerard, digging through the school's records. He stumbles across something shady, a stack of files on missing students, including none other than Atticus Rhodes, Alexis's brother. The school's got no official answers, and Gerard's gut is telling him there's a much bigger story here. Back in the duel, Jaden's feeling the pressure without his trusty fusions, but he's not folding. He calls out Bubbleman, uses Mirage of Nightmare to draw more cards, and drops emergency provisions to claw back some life points. He even sets up Skyscraper, giving his elemental heroes a serious boost. Bastion isn't letting up though. He counters like a pro, summoning Litmus Doom Swordsman, who feeds off trap cards for extra power, and blasts the field with a Wingbeat of Giant Dragon, wiping out all spells and traps, including Jaden's beloved Skyscraper. Things are looking rough, but Jaden's not done yet. He plays elemental hero Wildheart, who's got a sweet immunity to traps, and equips him with Cyclone Boomerang. When Wildheart goes down, Boomerang's effect kicks in, nuking the field and dealing direct damage to Bastion. Just like that, it's game over. Jaden wins and earns the title of Duel Academy's representative. Bastion takes the loss like a champ and vows to duel Jaden again soon. Fired up by Jaden's passion, Gerard decides to treat the missing students case not as a scandal-chasing story, but as his own personal mission. The world feels like it's crashing down, and right at the center of this existential meltdown stands none other than Chaz Princeton. Alone in some frozen corner of the map, he's shouting into the void, raging at Crowler, Bastion, Jaden. His pride's been bruised, his ego's bleeding, and there's only one thing on his mind, a rematch. Now, he's just another lost duelist, fumbling in the cold. But then, out of nowhere, a strange, kind old man appears, handing him a card. card, Ojama Yellow. Chaz looks at it like he's been handed a coupon for free humiliation, but the old guy insists this card is going to change his life. Chaz ends up at North Academy, Duel Academy's bitter rival, but before he can even step inside, he's got to pass an ice-cold survival test. Gather 40 cards scattered across the frozen wasteland. Along the way, he runs into a duelist who's already taken the L, and in a rare moment of sportsmanship, Chaz tosses him an extra card, a tiny spark of the Chaz we once knew. Inside the academy, he learns about the duel gauntlet. Win 50 duels in a row to earn a shot at the head honcho, the Khazar. Problem is, Chaz doesn't have his flashy high-end cards anymore, so he builds a janky deck with underdog monsters like Giant Rat, Ojama Yellow, and Gyakugiri Panda. Not exactly crowd favorites, but hey, they get the job done. He throws in Ring of Destruction, Inferno Tempest, and Chaos End, proving his duelist instincts are still razor sharp. One duel at a time, Chaz fights his way to the final boss, the Khazar himself. The showdown is electric. He hit the field, but Chaz flips the script with Inferno Tempest, wipes the board with Chaos End, and seals the win with Return from the Different Dimension, pointedly leaving Ojama Yellow on the sidelines. Coincidence? Not a chance. Then, the twist. The mysterious old man steps back into the picture. Turns out, he's Chancellor Foster, head of North Academy. The whole thing, the frozen wasteland, the gauntlet, even the ridiculous card, was all a test. And Chaz, he passed with flying colors. Now crowned the Academy champion, he's chosen to represent North in the upcoming inter-school duel. His opponent, you guessed it, Jaden. Chaz cracks a dark, knowing smile. He's not the spoiled obelisk blue kid anymore. He's a duelist forged in the fire of failure. Up in the freezing mountains, North Academy is throwing a full-on celebration for their brand new champion, Chaz Princeton. Principal Foster proudly announces his rise to glory and hands over the Academy's best cards as a reward. Now rocking an all-black uniform and an ego bigger than a Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, the former Duel Academy student is dead set on proving he's the real deal. Back at Duel Academy, Jaden's busy training with his trusty elemental heroes when Cyrus calls him over. The North Academy reps have just arrived. Out on the field, Foster and Shepard lock eyes, a silent standoff of mutual respect. But things really heat up when the rival duelist steps into the spotlight. It's none other than Chaz, the Academy's notorious dropout, now fighting for the other side. The stage is set for an all-out rivalry. Enter Chaz's brothers, Slade and Jagger, turning the duel into an international spectacle. They pile the pressure on him, making it clear victory means securing the family's grip on the entire dueling world. And yep, the whole thing's being broadcast live for maximum drama. Chaz comes out swinging with Masked Dragon, and when it gets destroyed, he uses its effect to bring out Armed Dragon level 3. From there, it's upgrade after upgrade. He jumps to level 5 in no time. Jaden answers with Burstinatrix, but Chaz uses Armed Dragon's effect to discard a monster and blow her off the field. Then he goes straight for Jaden's life points with a clean hit, but Jaden bounces back. He throws down Bubbleman, draws 2 extra cards, and uses Polymerization to fuse him with Avian and Sparkman. Boom. Elemental Hero Tempest hits the field. Things are looking up until Chaz drops Call of the Haunted, revives Armed Dragon level 5, and goes for the kill. But Jaden counters with Diffusion and saves his monsters at the last second. It's a clutch move, but Chaz isn't slowing down. He uses Armed Dragon's effect again and tries to wipe out Tempest, just missed it. Then comes the big one, Armed Dragon level 7. The card wasn't even supposed to be in his deck. Not even Foster saw it coming. Chaz is fired up, the crowd's losing it, and even Jaden admits the dragon's awesome. He jokes, he praises Chaz, and he's clearly loving every second of the duel, even with the odds stacked against him. Running low on options, Jaden plays Rottweiler in defense mode and sets a card face down, but it's not enough. Chaz discards Armed Dragon level 3, activates level 7's effect, and wipes Jaden's board. Rottweiler's effect kicks in, but it might be too late. Chaz goes in for the finish. Just when it looks like it's game over, Jaden pulls out Hero Spirit to block the attack and summons the ridiculously adorable winged Karibo. The crowd can't help but laugh. Chaz is fuming, and a mysterious dueling spirit shows up, visible only to those really paying attention. Naturally, Chaz pretends it's not there. Jaden flips the script using Pot of Greed and Special Hurricane, clearing the field like he's doing some weekend spring cleaning. Armed Dragon? Gone. Deleted. Chaz tries to fight back with Graveyard in the 4th dimension, but by this point, he's not dueling for himself anymore. He's battling under the crushing weight of his family's legacy. Cool as ever, Jaden drops a life lesson mid-duel. Dueling is supposed to be fun, not some family trauma therapy session. With Wild Heart, Hero Kids, Miracle Kids, and finally the legendary Flame Wingman, Jaden wraps up the match in style. Chaz loses, and not quietly. We're talking full-on effects, dramatic explosion, the whole cinematic defeat package, right there in front of everyone. Chaz's brothers disown him live and loud, but the crowd, They cheer for him just for being himself. Jaden stands up for him too. Chaz gets demoted to Slifer Red, the dorm for underdogs, and rejects. And while he tries to keep up his tough guy act, it's clear something's changed. No dragons, no bravado, just a kid starting to rediscover his own worth. This is the real beginning of his journey as a duelist. Cyrus wakes up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom, but he picks the wrong door and ends up face to face with Professor Banner, who looks like he just walked out of a Tim Burton movie. Full on, end of the world is coming vibes. And then, as Cyrus finally starts to process what's happening, he sees his teacher deep in conversation with a stranger saying things like, "Trust me, just do it." Even though the task apparently involves burying Jaden alive. You know, totally normal teacher behavior. At Duel Academy, Banner. Now basically, if Walter White went to Hogwarts, between random explosions and his suspicious coughing fits, he drops the bombshell. Field trip to the ruins. Obviously nobody's volunteering for this horror movie setup, but Jaden, Cyrus, and Chumley get drafted anyway, under the threat of detention. Once they arrive, it's basically every bad omen crammed into one place. Creepy winds, sketchy noises, and a stray cat that looks like it's seen some things. Out of nowhere, a loud crash splits Jaden from the group. He stumbles upon a mysterious woman who delivers some bad news. His friends have been snatched by the Gravekeeper's chief, who's like a turbocharged tomb guardian straight out of an ancient horror flick. If Jaden wants to save them, he's gonna have to duel for their lives. And if he loses, well, let's just say the losers end up 6 feet under. Literally, Jaden steps up, fearless as ever, dropping cheesy one-liners like he's auditioning for an action movie. He summons Bubbleman, pulls off a polymerization, and brings out Flame Wingman for the win. But the chief isn't playing fair. He flips Necro Valley, locking down Jaden's graveyard plays and basically nuking his whole strategy. Flame Wingman goes down, Jaden's deck runs dry, and his friends are stuck watching, while the villain flexes his brutal tactics. Jaden throws Winged Karibo on the field, pretty much like sending a hamster to fight a lion. Naturally, he gets mocked for it, but Jaden, ever the optimist, he goes for a comeback play with Transcendent Wings, Mirage of Nightmare, and Pot of Greed, the ultimate Hail Mary combo, but the chief shuts it all down like he's swatting flies. To make things worse, he floods the field with monsters using his own effects, and attacks from Spear Soldier and Curse start chopping away at Jaden's life points. Just when it's looking like curtains for our hero, Jaden pulls off a clutch move with emergency provisions and draining shield, buying himself a little time, some extra life points, and, most importantly, a spark of hope. And then, in a moment straight out of a dramatic anime finale, you know, where a shooting star crosses the sky and sad music kicks in, it turns out Jaden had already ditched elemental hero Necroshade into the graveyard earlier, which means he can summon Bladage without needing to sacrifice anything. Boom, game over. Jaden wins. A portal opens, the light shines through, and the crew makes it back home, alive, somehow. Jaden jolts awake, like he just had one of those nightmares that make you want to fall back asleep, just to check if your brain glitched. Spoiler, it didn't. Burned into his mind is the image of a gothic girl straight out of a creepy late-night commercial. Meanwhile, Alexis's brother is still in full premium vegetable mode, stable, but about as talkative as a toaster, while the school's hospital continues its proud tradition of being completely useless. The rumors are flying faster than dual discs. Word on campus is there's a vampire stalking the halls. Some say she drinks blood, others say she just drains your will to live. The students split into two camps, the paranoid and the ones who already ordered extra garlic at lunch. Then we've got Shepard, the headmaster, with the energy of a full-time conspiracy theorist. And guess what? He actually takes the rumor seriously. 2 words: Shadow Riders. Yep, those villains we thought had packed their bags for the Shadow Realm are back, and they're not bringing cookies. Chaz tries to laugh it off, but even his chuckle sounds like it's sweating bullets. The tension? Thicker than Camilla's eyeliner. And guess who shows up? Yep, Camilla herself, the vampire diva with more flair than plot relevance. She throws down a challenge that even a game show host would think twice about. Your soul and your key on the line in a shadow game. Lose and poof, you vanish. And who's brave or unlucky enough to step up? Crowler, the human definition of extra and walking secondhand embarrassment. But to be fair, the guy can duel. He pulls out Ancient Gear Castle, Ancient Gear Beast, even Ancient Gear Golem, and drops a heavy storm for good measure. Problem is, in a shadow game, every attack actually hurts. Camilla's got Infernal Vania on the field, reviving her monsters and spreading pain like confetti at a goth party. Crowler holds on, even hears Jaden's voice in his head, which honestly might be worse than hearing the villains. Camilla then summons Vampire Genesis, a massive gothic nightmare fuel, and seals the deal. Crowler loses. His soul gets trapped in a doll creepy enough to sell for big bucks on the dark side of eBay. Jaden freezes. This just got personal. The nightmare's just kicking off. Jaden, our usual class clown, is dead serious. So shaken up, he even gets clowned on by a flying bedsheet in a total Karate Kid fail moment. He wants to step up and fight, but man, he's clearly not ready yet. So Zane takes the lead, cool as ice. nice, straight to the point, basically the main guy in a K-drama. Kamala shows up for the next round. Zane goes straight for the big guns. Power bond into Cyber End Dragon. The attack almost seals the deal until she throws down Red Ghost Moon. Zane counters with Diffusion. It's an all-out card slugfest. But then, Kamala plays dirty. She activates Illusion Gate. Boom. All of Zane's monsters get wiped, and she brings back Cyber End Dragon with Cyrus's soul trapped inside. Now Zane's got the ultimate nightmare. If he destroys the dragon, he loses his brother. If he doesn't, he loses the duel. Cyrus has his moment to shine though. He tells Zane straight up his life isn't worth more than the mission. Total tearjerker. But Zane does the unthinkable. He sets his cards down, refuses to play Call of the Haunted, and lets himself lose. All for love. Kamala scores another win. Zane becomes another cursed doll on her shelf. And now Jaden, burning with fury, steps up. Even drained, he's ready to fight. For Crowler, for Zane, for everyone. Night falls over Duel Academy, and Kamala returns. Not thirsty for blood, but for souls and mystical items. Kamala enters the scene with full gothic villain vibes and a telenovela-worthy dramatic pause, making it clear this duel is both personal and mystical. Despite being wounded, Jaden brushes off every warning and dives into the duel like it's just another friendly match. He skips the infirmary, ignores protocol, and doesn't even consider calling for adult help. Classic shonen protagonist energy. Kamala starts strong with Illusion Gate, a card that not only steals monsters, but threatens to drag the owner's soul along for the ride. Jaden counters with Elemental Hero Tempest, but the Vampire Queen one-ups him, stealing the fusion with her own sinister tactics. Classic villain move, never lets anything slide. Crossheart gives Jaden a flashy comeback, letting him reclaim Tempest and knocking Kamala off balance. But like any self-respecting villain, she dials the drama up a notch with the summoning of the massive and menacing Vampire Genesis. Kamala delivers the signature villain monologue. She reveals she's been using spy bats, yes, literally, that she wants to revive her ancient vampire civilization, and that all the chaos is part of some ancestral prophecy. Jaden, unfazed by her backstory, pulls the classic Pot of Greed and follows up with a lethal combo, Dark Factory of Mass Production plus Fusion Gate, to bring out his ultimate move, Shining Flare Wingman, a hero whose power and glow are perfectly matched to the drama. Flare Wingman obliterates Vampire Genesis and delivers a devastating counterblow with its effect. Kamala falls in a full-on gothic tragedy finale, crumbling castle and dramatic close-up included. Zane and Crowler's souls are freed, relief all around, except for Jaden, who realizes this was just one chapter in a much bigger game. After spending what felt like centuries lurking in stealth mode, the Dark Scorpions finally decide to ditch the training wheels. Time to step into the spotlight, or at least try to. Zalug and his crew pull up at Duel Academy with a game plan so detailed it would make a soap opera villain stand up and clap. He shows up undercover as a so-called respected detective and kicks off the performance.
So, the detective suggests we all hide our keys somewhere.
The students bite harder than people at a free sushi buffet. One by one, they spill the beans about their secret hiding spots, like it's casual small talk. With the whole school sleeping soundly, because, of course, security is basically non-existent, the Scorpions make their move. They sweep through the hiding places, snatch up the keys, and vanish without making a sound, while our heroes are busy counting sheep. Next morning, reality hits. Textbook moment for protagonists who still think they're in some normal prep school, but Chaz, forever the skeptic of the group, smells something fishy. Something's off about this detective, and if anyone's gonna crack the case, it's me, Chaz Princeton. And believe it or not, he nails it. He pieces everything together and exposes the whole scheme. Plot twist. Zalug isn't just a guy in disguise, he is the card monster, in the flesh, rocking the dramatic cloak and all. With mustering of the Dark Scorpions, he summons the full squad, Gorg, Chick, Meanie, and Cliff. Turns out, they've been undercover too, like the emo version of a Game of Thrones family reunion. The masks come off, and it's game on. Chaz steps up to the plate with his signature swagger and, of course, the Ojamas. The Scorpions come in hot with chain combos and direct damage flying everywhere. Zalug plays it cool and calculated, but Chaz has got the Ojama King and the glorious power of Oja Muscle. The turning point, Ojama King locks down the field, blocks the zones, and flips the script with a play that's so ridiculous, it's genius. The finishing move, a full-on belly flop that sends Zalug crashing down into the pit of shame. Spirit keys recovered, villains officially canceled. Everything's about to change. Victory is within reach. But for Alexis, a real win would be getting her brother Atchicus back to normal. The air is heavy with silence, and nostalgia hits hard. Alexis thinks back to the good old days when her confident big brother wasn't just teaching her how to duel, but basically dropping life advice along with it, right on cue, as if we're following the official handbook of of dark drama, a mysterious villain appears. He throws down the gauntlet, a duel, with Atchikas's memories on the line. The stage? Obviously, an abandoned dorm, because creepy vibes are a must. For Alexis, facing off against the King of Darkness is a risk worth taking if it means saving her brother. Meanwhile, Jaden and Cyrus realize she's gone missing and stumble upon Atchikas, knocked out cold. Plot twist. Titan is back. Yep, the guy who used to be Crowler's scam artist is now a full-fledged Shadow Rider. The duel kicks off. Titan, now boss level, lays out the new rules. Alexis makes her move. She wants her brother's memories back. Titan ups the stakes. He wants her spirit key and her soul. Casual. Alexis dives in headfirst. Cyber Tutu hits the field, and her plays are on point. Titan mocks her, but she fires back with sharp strategies. For the first time, she's actually in control of the duel. But then, the twist. Titan activates Dark Arena. Everything plunges into shadow. Alexis can't see her opponents and is forced to attack blindly. Her confidence starts to crumble. Titan flexes his new Shadow Rider status, revealing how he traded his cheap tricks for real power, complete with dark magic and some dramatic Latin chanting for extra flair. Alexis is pushed to the edge. No cards, no plan, no hope. But then, Atchikas's voice breaks through. Even while under control, he shouts words of support, and that's all she needs. She draws her card, Pot of Greed, classic move. Using its effects, she summons Cyberblader, her strongest fusion monster. The dark field clears, and Titan feels the pressure. With one final attack, Alexis clinches victory. Titan screams and vanishes into the shadows. Atchikas wakes up, a little confused, but himself again. Memory intact, voice steady, and even cracking a small smile. But then comes the bombshell. Alexis asks him what happened. Atchikas explains he was summoned for a test at the abandoned dorm, but it was a setup. Captured by the forces of darkness, he was dragged into the Shadow Realm. There, he lost his memories and became Nightshroud. The worst part? The person who set up the so-called test was, wait for it, Professor Banner. Silence. A teacher mixed up with the Shadow Riders? Only at this school. The mystery just got even deeper. Bright and early, Cyrus and Chumley wake up in a panic. But no, it's not because of a test or class. It's way worse. They missed breakfast. A true crime against humanity. Culprit, obviously, Chaz. Cyrus threatens to rat him out, but Chaz, in full smug mode, just shrugs and says he already ate it all. Honestly, it feels like the start of a Three Stooges episode, if it weren't for the fact that Professor Banner is suddenly missing. While Chaz enjoys his villain moment, Jaden gets hit with some shocking news from Chancellor Shepard. Banner's gone. No sign of him leaving campus, no clues, nothing. We're talking full-on X-Files territory here, and of course, the prime suspects, the Shadow Riders. Because let's be real, when weird stuff goes down, it's always them. Even Jaden, who usually laughs everything off, knows this is serious. He's determined to find Banner, not because he's trying to be a model student or anything, but because, let's face it, when your eccentric professor suddenly vanishes, it's never a good sign. The school scrambles, and guess who they drag in as a substitute? Good old grumpy Crowler. Ripped away from his day off, he shows up already spitting venom about Banner's nonsense on alchemy and dual alchemy. He doesn't even bother teaching, just trashes Banner's lessons like a frustrated open mic comedian bombing on stage. Then comes the twist. Out of nowhere, Chaz decides he's going to lead the search for Banner. He finds a cryptic note with just one word, tree. Connecting the dots, or let's be honest, just making them up, he's convinced it points to Dorothy, the lunch lady, a theory straight out of a fever dream episode of Sherlock, but hey, points for effort. Their search leads them deep into the woods, where they stumble across the symbol of Amenael, creepy, cult-like, and oozing bad vibes. The whole vibe shifts. The forest feels like the set of a horror movie, and all signs point straight to Banner. The tension cranks up when they discover Banner's stuff scattered on the ground, his glasses, his tie, his shirt, but it only gets worse. Suddenly, an enemy steps out of the shadows, and shockingly, Chaz jumps to the front lines. Brave, determined, and, as always, a bit reckless. After an intense duel, Chaz disappears too. All that's left behind are his cards. Banner's missing, Chaz is gone, and the Shadow Riders seem to be closing in fast. Chez snaps his eyes open like he just woke up from a nightmare. In the distance, he spots Alexis and Atchikos. His brain's doing backflips trying to figure out where the heck he ended up, but as he takes in the scene, he rethinks it.
Where on earth am I? Let's make that... Where off the earth am I?
Cut to Duel Academy. Cyrus and Chumley are looking more lost than your grandma trying to navigate Amazon Returns. Lights are flashing like an underground rave, and Chumley, in peak Chumley fashion, declares this must have come from the spirit gates, because obviously, if it sparkles, it's demonic magic. Spoiler, he's spot on. The 7th Shadow Rider just rolled through and mopped the floor with Chaz, Alexis, and Professor Banner, who's now officially part of the scenery. Who's left standing? Our spiky-haired hero Jaden, but he's not running. Heroes heroes don't run.
Besides, we don't have to worry about this Shadow Rider guy finding me, because I plan on finding him first.
They end up at this creepy abandoned dorm straight out of Resident Evil. Inside, there's a lab that's basically screaming, "Dead bodies were definitely here." And sure enough, mummy alert. Jaden shines a light and bam, it's Professor Banner, embalmed and stiff as a history teacher in the last period on Friday. And the plot thickens. Enter Aminael, the 7th Shadow Rider. Surprise, it's Banner himself, but in full dark mode. Serving cult villain energy, he drops the bomb. That dried up corpse, his own. He's dead and back as a full-blown gothic alchemist. Duel time. And this ain't your casual backyard duel. We're talking high stakes, wild twists, and a deck that's more concept album than card game. Aminael brings out the big guns. Steel Salamander, Bronze Ouroboros, and Lead Lion. Jaden counters with Bubble Man. Blocked. Obviously. Things are looking grim. Amno summons the Golden Homunculus, a shiny monstrosity that bulks up with every card banished, ready for the knockout. But Jaden, living up to his protagonist title, pulls Mud Max and clutches the round. Hanging by a thread, Jaden flips the duel with a combo that'd make Yugi proud. Burstinatrix, Burst Return, Burst Impact, cleans the board, and goes straight for the win. For the first time, Aminael actually feels it. But wait, plot twist. Pharaoh the cat shows some love to Aminael. Chumley connects the dots. Banner is the villain, the dead guy, and somehow also the guy giving villain monologues. While hunting for ancient cards, he stumbled upon a cursed tomb, lost his physical body, and whipped up a homunculus to house his soul. Talk about a terrible life upgrade, but quitting wasn't on the table, so he went full megalomaniac, deciding to steal the power of the 3 sacred beasts to snag immortality. And just when you think the drama's maxed out, Banner ups the ante. If Jaden refuses to duel, he'll drain the souls of Cyrus, Alexis, and Achikis. Our guy Jaden, the eternal believe in the heart of the cards kid, freezes. For the first time, he hesitates. Seriously, it's a jaw-dropper. But even rattled, Jaden flips the switch back to Shonen Hero mode. Cards fly, combos dazzle, and Hope gets a flashy power-up. Clayman and Burstinatrix fuse into Rampart Blaster, turning into a literal cannon that wipes the field. Bladage and Mariner jump in like they're part of a choreographed anime battle scene. Banner, though, isn't done yet. He pulls out his final boss move, Helios Trismegistus, a giant monster cobbled together from banished cards and broken dreams. To make things worse, he hints that all of Jaden's wins so far were manipulated. Major blow to the ego. Cue the feel-good comeback. Jaden remembers his friends, their trust in him, and the battles they fought together. The spark reignites. He draws Miracle Fusion and summons Elemental Hero Electrum. The hero shuffles all those banished cards back into the deck, reduces Helios to space dust, and seals the win. Silence. Defeated, Banner lowers his guard and reveals the truth. It was all a test. A dark, over-the-top performance to push Jaden to the next level. No evil intentions, just a harsh lesson in disguise. He hands over his book and fades away like a master who's finally at peace. The vibe at Duel Academy is heavier than the mystery meat in the cafeteria. Out of nowhere, giant energy pillars shoot up from the ground, sucking up the spirit keys like they're doomsday milkshakes. Naturally, everyone starts freaking out. Cyrus, the forever underestimated underdog, is actually the first to catch on. This is exactly what Professor Banner kept rambling about between his esoteric life lessons. The spirit gates start cracking open, and the whole campus turns into a full-blown evil energy rave. Chaz, of course, ends up taking the blame. He was carrying the keys, all because he was trying to impress Alexis. But before this chaos turns into an all-out brawl, Kagamaru makes his grand entrance. The long-lost superintendent, now looking like some gothic influencer who took his rebranding way too seriously. Kagamaru confesses to everything. The Shadow Riders, the rigged duels. It was all part of his master plan to unleash the sacred beasts. 3 monsters so terrifying they'd basically turn the whole world into a theme park from hell. And who does he pick for the final showdown? Jaden, of course. The duel kicks off with Kagamaru summoning Araya, a fire-breathing beast that crushes Jaden's monster without even breaking a sweat. But Jaden fights back with style, playing Skyscraper to bring out elemental hero Tempest, and manages to take Araya down, at least for the moment. The celebration is short-lived. Kagamaru drops Hammond on the field, who obliterates Tempest and even dishes out direct damage. Meanwhile, monsters from other duelists start vanishing left and right. Zane realizes the ugly truth. These beasts weren't sealed away for nothing. They're a threat to the very game itself. Now fully powered powered up and enjoying every second of his villain arc, Kagamaru dominates the duel. The other duelists watch helplessly. Only Jaden holds his ground, clutching a tome left behind by Banner. No one really knows what it does, but it looks about as precious as the last Wi-Fi password on campus. Everything rides on Jaden's next move. Jaden's cornered, no monsters on his field, but he pulls out Rottweiler, and even though it's not exactly a heavy hitter, it gets him back some key cards. Then he plays Flute of Summoning Karibo to dodge a brutal attack, with the help of the ever-reliable winged Karibo. This is the moment our protagonist starts to grow, forming real bonds with his monsters. He uses Metamorphosis on Bubbleman, turning him into Neo Bubbleman, and takes down Hamon. But Kagamaru isn't done yet. He counters with Phantasmal Martyrs to summon Raviel, Lord of Phantasms. Chaos erupts, cards vanish, souls get sucked away, and it's basically the apocalypse knocking at the door. That's when Banner shows up in spirit form and hands Jaden a wild chameleon card. Jaden activates Fusion Recovery, grabs Polymerization, and fuses up the mighty Shining Flare Wingman, blasting Raviel with a 4,100 attack finisher. The final blow comes when that chameleon card transforms into Miracle Fusion. Jaden fuses 4 heroes together and summons Hero Electrum, supercharged with Sabatiel. His attack, boosted 5 times over. Kagamaru gets yeeted across the map. Sacred Beasts, defeated, world, saved. And then, plot twist, turns out Kagamaru was just an old dude obsessed with eternal youth. But instead of finishing him off, Jaden shows him some empathy. With the danger over, everything goes back to normal, until the dreaded final exams roll around. Because hey, saving the world is one thing. Surviving multiple choice tests? Now that's the real nightmare. Zane Truesdale, the icy prodigy of Duel Academy, takes center stage at the graduation match. He can choose any opponent, and he picks Jaden. A rematch is on the horizon. The choice shocks everyone, especially Jaden himself, who sees this as the perfect chance to prove how far he's come. But there's a catch. Zane is the only duelist he's never beaten. The duel kicks off with a bang. Zane wastes no time summoning Cyber End Dragon. Jaden strikes back with boldness, using Wild Heart, Cyclone Boomerang, and Wild Half. He takes down the dragon right out of the gate, but Zane had a plan. He uses Different Dimension to retrieve key cards. The duel turns into a psychological battle. Jaden summons Wild Edge and wipes out 3 Cyber Dragons, but Zane retaliates with Future Fusion, Defusion, and Power Bond, bringing back an even more terrifying Cyber End Dragon. Then Zane lands a cutting blow, not with his cards, but with his word.
You're not being yourself. You're not playing with your heart. What you're doing now, Jaden, is wasting my time.
Now, it's not just about winning, it's about rediscovering who he truly is. The duel rages on in epic fashion. Jaden reconnects with his core in the most unexpected way. He pauses the duel to eat. He returns refreshed and refocused. Rallying his heroes, he activates Elemental Burst and clears the field. The crowd goes wild. For the first time, Zane feels the emotional weight, but he doesn't back down. He uses Time Fusion and Cybernetic Fusion support, bringing back Cyber End Dragon, now supercharged with Power Bond and Limiter Removal. The monster becomes a ticking time bomb. At the climax, both duelists activate Battle Fusion, but Jaden plays his final card, Final Fusion. The explosion ends the duel in a draw, 0 points for both. But emotionally, Jaden stands victorious. Zane accepts it, he passes the torch, and Jaden vows to honor the legacy. A new year begins at Duel Academy. Jaden's back in full force, but the calm doesn't last. Enter Aster Phoenix, global dueling champion, poster boy, and the Academy's newest freshman. He challenges Jaden to a duel, using random cards from the store, Genius or Madman. The match is uneven. Jaden takes it lightly and wins, but Aster's not here for fun. He's on a mission. After the duel, he gets a mysterious call. He's been assigned to keep an eye on Jaden. The kid might be at the center of something much bigger. A shadow begins to form. We don't know its name yet, but one thing's for sure. Sartorius is coming. Chaz Princeton, once a star duelist and now a resident of Slifer Red, gets his shot at redemption. If he defeats the freshman prodigy Reginald Van Howell III, he'll become the new face of Duel Academy. The duel is brutal. Reginald dominates early on, summoning hulking warrior monsters and dishing out humiliation, but Chez has the Ojamas. With the card Ojamagic, he flips the tide and brings out the fearsome fusion XYZ Dragon Cannon. Reginald counters with Guilford the Legend, nearly sealing the win, but Chez comes back with Ojama Delta Hurricane and summons Ojama King Mecha Mode. It has 0 attack points, but deals direct damage. He wins through sheer absurdity. absurdity. Despite the victory, he turns down the fame, the friends, the glam. "I'm just Ches," he says. And as a bonus twist, rumors begin to swirl. Slifer Red Dorm might be getting demolished. Conspiracy theory or end of the line? Jaden's in full-on, defeated and sarcastic mode after dozing off during Crawler's lecture. As punishment, he and the class get stuck lugging around dual discs like glorified delivery guys. Amidst the whining, Cyrus shows up more paranoid than usual. He confesses there's a bully on the West Bridge, snatching dual discs from anyone who loses. Naturally, Jaden flips the switch to anime revenge mode. At the scene, they run into Tyranno Hasselberry, a wannabe soldier with a dinosaur deck and a drill sergeant's bark. He challenges Jaden with a brutal rule: lose the duel, lose your dual disc. The duel kicks off with Jaden summoning Wildheart and Blattage, and he's already rocking that smug grin like this is gonna be an easy win. Mid-duel, Hasselberry drops his backstory. He landed in the Yellow Dorm and overcompensates by being a one-man army. He activates Jurassic World, transforming the field into a prehistoric war zone, but Jaden won't have it. He fires back with Skyscraper, summons Wild Wingmen, and blows it all to bits. In the end, Hasselberry accepts defeat and joins the crew. From above, Crowler watches the renovation of the Red Dorm with the face of someone witnessing the end times. Ches decides to turn the Slifer Red Dorm into a reality show for outcasts. Just then, Alexis drops a bombshell. She's left Obelisk blue after Crowler tried to cast her in a musical duel production. Now, she's seeking asylum among the exiles. Meanwhile, Crowler and Bonaparte come up with a scheme of their own. They want to turn Cyrus into a star by making him duel Missy, a fangirl who's head over heels for Zane. Cyrus spirals into an emotional breakdown, but ultimately resolves to face the duel without relying on Power Bond, the card gifted by his brother. The duel kicks off with Missy launching a swarm of insect monsters and awkward flirtations. Cyrus takes a beating, but turns the tables using Submarine Roid, then seals the deal by summoning Super Viacroid Jumbo Drill through Connection Zone. It's a clean win, no emotional crutches. He's promoted to Raw Yellow, but sticks by his friends in Slifer Red. Jaden breezes through another duel, barely breaking a sweat. But it's not enough. He craves real challenges. News spreads fast. A high-stakes showdown is about to go down. Zane versus Aster Phoenix. Aster's deck is shrouded in mystery. No one really knows how he duels. When the match begins, Aster drops a bombshell. He uses elemental heroes. Just like Jaden, the ultimate taunt, Zane fires back with his signature Cyber Dragons and the devastating Power Bond. But Aster tears through it all with Spark Blaster and his unstoppable Shining Phoenix Enforcer. Zane suffers his first ever professional loss, and it's a humiliating one. Then Aster drops the mic. He lost on purpose before. Now the real duel begins, and he's coming for Jaden. Aster becomes the star of the academy. During an interview, he accuses a student of copying his deck.
I won't tell you his name, but it rhymes with Schmaden Schmooky.
The duel between him and Jaden is set. No audience, no nonsense. Jaden and Aster trade blows with nearly identical heroes. Aster takes the lead by summoning Elemental Hero Phoenix Enforcer, a powerful fusion that can't be destroyed in battle, but Jaden doesn't back down. He fires back with Light Laser, Skyscraper, and Elemental Hero Shining Flare Wingman, turning the duel in his favor and destroying Aster's Phoenix Enforcer. That's when Aster reveals his true trump card, the Destiny Heroes. With the activation of D-Time, he brings out a new lineup led by Destiny Hero Doomlord and backed by the field spell Clock Tower Prison, completely changing the pace of the match. But then Aster drops a bombshell. He's just the tip of the iceberg. There's something bigger behind him. Aster reveals that his dad, the guy who created the Destiny Heroes, has been kidnapped. Now it's personal. The final blow? Dreadmaster wipes the field, brings allies back, and activates invincibility mode. Jaden tries to counter with Necroid Shaman, but it's like playing Uno against Exodia. In the end, he loses, and it hits him. Maybe destiny isn't in his hands. Maybe it belongs to duelists with trauma, precision-engineered decks, and something to prove. The call starts, and Jaden doesn't pick up. Cyrus and Hasselberry go full soap opera and storm out of the room. Jaden, he's alone, drowning in despair. Losing to Aster didn't just crush his spirit, it shattered his bond with his monsters. Enter Ches, drama detector on high alert. He challenges Jaden to a duel. Jaden declines. He's soulless. Meanwhile, the villain Sartorius makes his grand entrance, all Chaos Guru vibes, and sets his sights on a new target, Ches, who's about as secure as public Wi-Fi. Sartorius arrives at the academy with a full-on spiritual marketing campaign and weaponized passive aggressiveness. He challenges Ches using a tarot-themed deck, and during the duel, reveals that the Hangman card represents Ches himself. Chez loses, but the worst part? He wakes up the next morning looking like a budget wellness influencer, radiating inner peace faker than a $3 bill. Cyrus and Hasselberry are sprinting through the school halls, either searching for Jaden or just looking for an excuse to be dramatic. Along the way, they find out Jaden has left the island. Chez, now a devoted member of the Society of Light, mocks his rival's so-called enlightenment. Meanwhile, Jaden is wandering like the lead singer of a Gothic rock band until a dolphin with legs shows up. Yes, a dolphin with legs. Neospatian Aqua Dolphin. The creature reveals that Jaden has been chosen to help restore balance to the universe. Digging into his past, Jaden recovers cards he designed as a kid, now miraculously real. With a new sense of purpose, he duels a robotic duelist from the Society of Light. He summons elemental hero Neos and Aqua Dolphin and wins with a heart renewed. The next morning he wakes up with a new deck and a clear conviction. He's back, stronger, wiser, and ready for whatever comes next. At Slifer Red, today's menu special is Culinary Nightmare. Hasselberry leads a food revolt, but the chaos is cut short by Don Simon, a chef who promises a banquet if they win a duel. If he wins, Cyrus, Hasselberry, and Bastion get demoted. If he loses, it's feast time for everyone. The duel begins. Don Simon summons bulked up vegetables powered by spicy magic. Hasselberry counters with his Jurassic dinosaurs. As the battle heats up, Don Simon plays his ace, Curry Fiend Rue, but Hasselberry drops his ultimate card, Tyranno Infinity. One strike, and it's game over. Plot twist. Don Simon is actually a long-forgotten former headmaster. All he wanted was to be remembered and to finally feed someone properly. In the end, there's food, forgiveness, and almost food poisoning. Jaden gets a mystical zap from the universe. We need you. Cue the drama. Chez returns, now dressed in all white, strutting like a fashion prophet of the Society of Light. The other students mock him, but he responds with pure narcissism. They'll be in white too, just not as fabulous as me. Meanwhile, Crowler and Bonaparte decide to address Jaden's disappearance, and Chez's fashion madness the only way that makes sense, with a duel that might just blow up the Slifer dorm. Alexis is called in to defend the red team, and drops a rom-com style speech, "My heart belongs to the red dorm." Then Jaden reappears, casually explaining he went to space, met an alien dolphin, and came back with new cards. Totally normal. Alexis steps aside. The duel begins. Aster plays it serious, but Jaden fights back with his Neospatians and summons Aqua Neos. The hero shines, and then vanishes. Jaden takes a heavy hit, goes down, but rises with a grin. Now the real duel begins. Classic cliffhanger. Jaden summons Bubbleman as casually as ordering an espresso. Aster, ever the cool tactician, counters with Destiny Hero, Dogma, and activates Dark City, but Jaden fires back with Neospace, bringing out Flare Neos and flipping the duel on its head. Aster retaliates with Heavy Storm Blade, wiping the field, but Jaden pulls off a slick save using a substitute effect. It's a brilliant finish. Slifer Dorm is safe. Aster decides to stay at Duel Academy, but a shadow of doubt lingers. What if the Society of Light is just a front? Jaden may be the hero of the day, but it's Aster who begins a dark inner journey. Crawler and Bonaparte clash over who gets to demolish the Slifer Dorm. The argument escalates into an official duel. Once a flamboyant villain in a flashy lab coat, Crawler now stands as the defender of the underdogs. Even the students are rooting for him. Bonaparte starts strong, deploying his toy soldiers, which begin tearing down the dorm in real time. Crawler counters by summoning Ancient Gear Golem, Castle, Tank, and Engineer. He delivers an unexpected lesson. A great teacher learns from their students. He wraps it up with a clever play. Zero gravity combined with his golem crashing straight through the toy emperor. A hard-fought victory. The dorm is saved. And of course, in classic Crawler fashion, he spots a cockroach at the end and screams, "Dorm's infested! Tear it down!" Charismatic chaos restored. Chez returns, now a gourmet cult leader. Dressed entirely in white, Chez preaches about light and spiritual superiority with a holier-than-thou attitude. He calls everyone out to duel, and while Jaden steps up, Alexis jumps in, saying she wants to go instead, for the honor of Obelisk Blue. The duel turns into a mind-bending, card-fueled indoctrination session, while Alexis struggles to remember who she really is. Just then, Atchicus bursts onto the scene with a silly song.
Lexi, how I wish you could see that no one but you. Remember, your brother's always here.
She regains her memories and summons Cyber Angel Dakini, but Chez throws a wrench into fate with Armed Dragon level 10, bringing the duel to a crushing end. Plot twist. Alexis smiles and says, "Now I understand everything," and joins the Society of Light. Panic spreads. If even she fell, is anyone truly safe? Frustrated, Chez attempts to create an exclusive white dorm, but the Academy shuts him down. Bonaparte sees a chance to get rid of Slifer Red, and tells Chez that if he destroys the red dorm, the white dorm will be all his. Meanwhile, well. Sartorius reads the cards and sees that Jaden is the obstacle that must be tested. Lorenzo, an over-the-top Italian-American duelist and video game champion, is summoned to take Jaden down. The mission? Eliminate Jaden and wipe out Slifer Red. Despite the comic tone, the threat is real. Alexis, distant and acting strangely, leads Jaden to the Duel Dome. There, Lorenzo activates his boss rush combo, summoning machine after machine in a relentless stream. Surrounded, Jaden spots the weakness. He breaks the loop using Neo-Spatian Grand Mole and destroys the combo. With Climax Hour, Jaden summons elemental hero Neos and seals the win. Victory. But Lorenzo rises again, his eyes empty. He's now a follower of the light. Sartorius and Ches watch, satisfied. Soon, they'll all be like Lorenzo. An old friend of Sartorius shows up, Howard X. Miller, a smug lawyer type who invites the crew to a party in a cave. Total setup. A duel contract is signed. If Jaden loses, the Slifer dorm gets evicted. X plays cards like card destruction, aiming for a deck-out win. Shaken, Jaden nearly loses his spark. Then Glowmoss hits the field, unleashing creative chaos. With Common Soul, Miracle Fusion, and Electrum, Jaden flips the duel. He finishes with Defusion and Instant Fusion. Crushing victory. The lesson? Destiny's just a face-down card. Courage is what defines the game. Sartorius draws a tarot card. Strength. Linked to Hasselberry, he challenges him. Despite having no real experience with a dual disc, using his Arcana Force deck, Sartorius plays with fate itself. Hasselberry fights back, revealing he's had dinosaur DNA implanted. The primal power kicks in, and he regains ground, but Sartorius plays Reversal of Fate, reclaims strength, and wins. Everyone thinks Hasselberry's been converted, but he stands up smiling. The Jurassic DNA held strong. Peace, but only for now. Plot twist. Sartorius is now officially enrolled at Duel Academy, and the tension just got real. The White Dorm has gone full-blown cult. Brainwashed students now worship Sartorius, who even gets to decide the destination of the upcoming school trip. Outraged, Jaden challenges Ches to a duel. If Jaden wins, he picks the trip location. If he loses, he joins the cult. But instead of Ches, Rose, the self-proclaimed frog princess, steps up to duel. With a bizarre deck filled with frogs that have names and personalities, she corners Jaden with her odd strategy. Throughout the duel, Rose philosophizes about spirits living within one's heart. Jaden, reconnecting with the spirits of his favorite heroes, turns the tables using Feathershot, Power Charger, and Skyscraper. Victory is his. The trip, it's headed to Domino City, home of the legendary Yugioh. The fight against the Society of Light isn't over, but the spirit of the duelists burns stronger than ever. Serena makes her debut as host of Secret Cult Duelist Edition and announces Jaden's arrival. Her mission, greet him with chaos. She arms two reality show-style goons, Frost and Thunder, with rigged cards. Jaden arrives in Domino City with his friends and visits Yugi's old house, but the nostalgia is short-lived. Solomon Muto mysteriously vanishes. Suddenly, monsters appear. A magical barrier seals the city, and the fun trip turns into a mystical trap. Cyrus and Hasselberry face off against Frost and Thunder in a lopsided duel. The villains are more ridiculous than threatening, but the match is still no joke. All of it, as it turns out, is just another move in the Society of Light's twisted plan. With Serena playing her pawns like pieces on a dark chessboard, Cyrus steps up, showing new confidence in battle, while Hasselberry learns to trust others. And together they unleash an epic fusion, a fully armored dinosaur straight out of an action movie. Victory comes at a cost, through sacrifice and clever tactics. The villains vanish, leaving behind only a cryptic message. Think altitude. And yes, the tension is rising. Literally. Ches returns, now brainwashed by the light, and Serena remains cold and calculating, switching allies like trading cards. Enter the new tag team, Blaze and T-Bone. Jaden finds himself increasingly isolated. Even Alexis is turning distant. The new dynamic duo manages to find Jaden and challenge him to a duel. In the duel, Blaze becomes a zombie under Serena's control, and T-Bone plays like his soul is on the line, because it is. But Jaden fights back with heart-driven plays and clever combos. Elemental hero Tempest and Neos flip the duel on its head. In the end, Serena leaves everyone puzzled with a final twist. Is Jaden really the chosen one, or does the prophecy belong to Aster? With the city under siege, Jaden and Aster enter Kaiba Land's digital theme park to rescue their friends. Serena appears with a grim proposition. Only one of them is worthy of the prophecy. The duel is brutal, mirrored spirits, warped battlefields, and a partnership cracking like glass. But they come to understand, only together can they win. Aster shines with his destiny heroes, while Jaden counters with Wild Heart, smashing through the spiritual barrier. Serena ups the difficulty, going full boss mode, but the fight freezes in a high-stakes cliffhanger. This isn't just a duel anymore. It's about identity, destiny, and the soul itself. Serena summons the Dark Creator and multiplies improvise using infinite theme mirror because nothing says confidence like an army of yourself. Aster gets his moment with Destiny hero, Dasher, but the Dark Creator sticks to the field like a rare hollow sticker. Jaden drops one of his signature pep talks, and alongside Aster, brings out elemental hero Dark Neos, a fierce fusion with Neo-Spacian Dark Panther. Epic finale. Serena loses her clones, her mirrors, and her cool. Before logging off, she reveals Sartorius is possessed by some dark entity. She chooses to remain trapped in the server because Eternal Digital Watch duty is the new exile. Sartorius senses the disturbance and flashes that classic villain grin, already picking out his outfit for the next showdown. Back at the academy, everything feels way too clean. Even the Slifer dorm smells nice. Enter Alice, the new student with a sweet smile and a chamomile flower aura. Hasselberry's instantly smitten. Bastion's instantly suspicious. Red alert mode activated. That night, Jaden's Karibo senses trouble. Bastion is knocked out cold in the bushes, and Alice has gone full goth deluxe. She blames duelists for spreading pain and challenges Jaden to a duel on the cursed dollhouse field. Think horror movie meets demonic Barbie. Alice summons Doll Chimera, a Frankenstein made of secondhand store nightmares. Jaden cracks jokes with Thunder Giant and Neo Bubbleman, but the doll keeps coming back stronger, like a bad horror villain that won't quit. Then comes the twist. Alice is actually a living doll, born from the resentment of abandoned cards. Jaden meets her pain with empathy and the power of Winged Karibo level 10. Transcendent Wings activates. The curse is broken. Moved by his kindness, Alice chooses to leave peacefully. By morning, everything's back to normal. Hasselberry confesses he fell for a doll and becomes the official punchline of the day. Ches returns with an ego the size of the island, handing out defeats like pizza flyers. Now, 3 out of the 4 remaining Raw students are proud members of the Society of Light, saying their goodbyes to Bastion, leaving him as the last one standing. Meanwhile, Bastion spirals into yet another existential crisis. Not even the cult noticed him. Desperate to prove his worth, he sneaks into the White Dorm and challenges Sartorius. Naturally, Ches is sent to publicly humiliate him. The duel? A chemistry-themed zoo versus Ojama Chaos. Bastion nearly wins, but hesitates. He loses because he wasn't really dueling Ches. He was fighting himself. In the end, he surrenders, just to feel seen. And Ches, he tosses the Ojamas out like garbage. Zane is back, but forget the hero. Now he looks like he stepped straight out of a dark Evanescence music video. He wins duels with such chilling detachment that even the narrator grows uneasy. His brother, Cyrus, watches in silence. Zane is no longer the man he once knew. Atop the world, Shepard challenges him, hoping to bring back the former student. But Zane tears everything. Without blinking, he claims the Underworld deck, and yet he accepts an invitation to the World Tournament. Shepard drops a bombshell. The GX Dueling Tournament is coming. A global showdown with you challenge, they accept rules. The Academy goes wild, but Sartorius is already switching into cult mode. Meanwhile, an airplane lands carrying Prince Ojin, who's brought along some high-tech mind control gear. Naturally, Sartorius wipes the floor with him using cards that look like final boss-level magic. Ojin loses. The tech falls into cult hands, and suddenly we've got a worldwide threat on our hands. But the gang's too busy dueling to notice. Jaden's pumped. Bastion's still invisible to everyone. And Cyrus is riding high on self-esteem with 2 medals around his neck. Nobody seems to realize they're in a tournament sponsored by a mind-controlling cult. Business as usual. Jaden's all set for a wild and fun duel, but the mood shifts when Cyrus hides in a trash can. He's scared he'll lose the medals and flunk the year. Meanwhile, Ches, now dressed in all white and with no Ojamas in sight, defeats a famous duelist using new cards and a cold-hearted soul. Jaden makes a choice. He'll use the rejected Ojamas to remind his friend who he truly is. The duel becomes a therapy session on the field. The Ojamas burst in with jokes, old memories, and unwavering loyalty. Ches falters. He doesn't surrender, but doubts creep in. The facade starts to crack. Ojama Knight hits the field, sparking flashes of the old Ches. And the final blow, Ches puts his black jacket back on, the one that screams classic Ches. With his soul restored, he wipes the board with cemetery change. In the end, the duel wasn't about winning. It was about saving a friend. Now Ches swears to rescue Alexis, and no one's using him as a pawn ever again. A tense calm looms over the academy. Jaden and Hasselberry are scarfing down lunch when Ches storms in like a health inspector. Then Cyrus drops a bombshell. Zane is back, only now Now he's exuding villain vibes and wields a dark deck called Underworld. Atticus tries to talk to Zane, but he's not having it. He's here for one thing, but duel. The battle begins. Atticus summons Red Eyes, but Zane counters with his cyberdark monsters, utterly crushing the opposition. He activates Power Wall and makes it clear he's become a soulless duelist. He fuses the cyberdarks, absorbs Red Eyes, and wins with sheer brute force. In the end, he turns down the prize and drops a chilling line.
You see, all that matters to me is victory.
Jaden watches in silence. The Zane he knew is gone. Duel Academy has hit rock bottom, and someone took the ladder. Half the students are just there to lose. And Crowler's brilliant plan: ship the top duelists off on a mystery cruise. The only hope? Find students crazy enough to challenge the pros. Enter Damon, the dueling Tarzan, who defeats the genius Mathematica using nothing but pure chaos. Then there's Boloski, the Zen master who looks like he's always asleep, pulling off a win with Moki Moki. Jasmine and Mindy give it a shot, but end up as gourmet punchlines. Just when it looks like a complete flop, Alexis steps up with her Cyber Angels, plays like a pro, and crushes the smug French duelist. 3 unexpected wins spark a flicker of hope, but yeah, Damon goes back to screaming in the forest, and Boloski, fast asleep again. The crisis is far from over. This school needs more than a few inspired weirdos to be saved. Enter Lucian, a gothic gourmet with a demonic pact and a soul-betting deck. The duel against Jaden kicks off like an apocalyptic rave. He unleashes Slash Draw and nearly wipes Jaden off the map, but Jaden counters with Hero Metal, disrupting the combo. Lucian hesitates. Jaden lays it down. Trusting your own deck is what really matters. With a bare hand, Lucian draws, breaks the pact, and frees himself. Jaden ends it with Neos and Flame Wingman. Lucian loses but walks away free, promising to return, this time without any dark deals. Today's hottest gossip shakes Duel Academy to its core. Crowler and Bonaparte have been fired. After all the chaos with Sartorius, someone finally pulled the plug. The general reaction? A mix of sarcasm and collective relief. Even Ches, who once dabbled in villainy himself, gets a jab. Back at the academy, the ex-teachers bump into Pegasus, the creator of Duel Monsters. They beg for a job, but he offers them a challenge instead. Beat him in a duel. Spoiler alert, they don't stand a chance. Instead of teaming up, they bicker like a pair of cartoonish villains while Pegasus unleashes Toon Kingdom and plunges the field into animated chaos. Even sabotaging themselves, they almost turn the tide, thanks to a coach-style pep talk from Jaden. Fired up, they finally join forces, summon Ancient Gear Golem, and for a brief moment, actually threaten Toon Girl. But Pegasus isn't playing nice. He steals the Golem and ends the duel with style. In the end, despite losing, they earn redemption. Shepard pops up revealing the whole thing was an educational scare, and offers them their jobs back. Crowler and Bonaparte agree to stay. After all, someone has to teach these kids not to duel over satellites. Sartorius is now nothing more than a vessel for the so-called light, cold, arrogant, and completely hacked. His sister, Serena, tries to reach out to him, but he's fully committed to his role as a messiah of the apocalypse, complete with an armed satellite. The real Sartorius sends a holographic message to Jaden, asking him to safeguard a mysterious key, the kind of "don't ever return this, or the world goes boom" deal. Aster gets one too. Suspense level, activated. But peace is short-lived. Alexis reappears, soulless. She's become a duelist of the light, cold, ruthless. She challenges Jaden, and though reluctant, he accepts, knowing that only through dueling can he hope to bring her back. During the duel, she freezes everything with her ice-themed cards. Ches and Atticus try to help with heartfelt advice and emotional support cards, but Alexis is in full-on post-trauma Elsa mode. Still, Jaden refuses to give up. Gasping for air, Jaden fights back with Card Trooper, revives Sparkman, and goes full improv mode. For a brief moment, there's light at the end of the tunnel, until Alexis summons White Knight Dragon equipped with White Veil. The result? Field wiped clean, hope nearly gone, but Jaden digs deep. With Armor Breaker and Spell Striker, he pulls off a last-minute fusion with Neos, summoning Flare Neos. One blazing attack later, the dragon is down, and the spell is broken. Alexis collapses, then snaps out of it. With this win, Jaden proves Sartorius can be beaten. The resistance rallies. Now, it's personal. Cyrus, the eternal background character, finally gets his moment to shine. Mid-duel, he proudly summons his submarine roid, and with a direct attack, pulls off a win no one saw coming, not even his own mom. But the victory weighs heavy. He's still haunted by the shadow of his brother Zane, now a cold, Darth Vader-esque version of his former self. Cyrus confesses he can't bring himself to use Power Bond. It's no longer just a card, it's become an anchor. As Zane gears up to duel Aster in full soap opera villain mode, Jaden slips into motivational coach territory, inspiring Cyrus to face his brother, not for glory, but for answers. But the duel is brutal. Every life point lost delivers a real electric shock. Zane doesn't hold back. He declares that pain is the only truth. Cyrus takes the hits, until the card appears. Power Bond returns, not as a burden, but as strength. Cyrus plays it. Zane strikes back with a nightmare creature, Cyber Dark Dragon, but Cyrus tries to stay calm, playing with smarts and strategy. Unfortunately, Zane had one last move, Diffusion, ending the duel. Cyrus breaks down, but now he's the hero of his own story. Bastion plummeted from prodigy to background character in no time. The once nerdy genius had become the laughingstock of the Academy. While Jaden kept winning on pure instinct, Bastion watched helplessly as logic let him down. Enter Eisenstein, a mad scientist with a quantum vocabulary who instantly becomes Bastion's new idol. But the eccentric man is just a pawn in a darker scheme. A staged duel against Jaden. Eisenstein bursts onto the scene preaching about the field of relativity like he's giving a lecture. Jaden, as always, plays by instinct. Just when things seem lost, he draws glow Neos and turns the tide. Eisenstein loses, and in a rare moment of humility, he concedes. Maybe there is room for intuition after all. Bastion eagerly offers to be his intern, but the quantum genius vanishes into thin air. Aster Phoenix racks up another win, effortlessly, but he's not chasing trophies. He's hunting a card, the Destiny card, which vanished the same night his father did. Coincidence? Not even close. Pegasus drops a bomb. The card was crafted by a genius, who also disappeared. The entity sealed inside it, a living light, a parasite that feeds on duelists. One touch, and you're a puppet. Guess who's already under its spell? Sartorius. And the D, Aster's stepfather and a dueling legend, got caught in the web too. During a live broadcast duel, the D snaps. He breaks the rules, loses control, and vanishes from the screen. Aster, boiling with anger, tracks him down. That's when the truth hits. The D stole the card, and he's behind his father's disappearance. Now face to face with the Destiny card, Aster hesitates. He manipulated Aster from childhood, stole his father's card, and was behind his disappearance all along. Stunned, Aster snaps into action. He activates his Destiny hero deck and charges into the duel. Clock Tower Prison hits the field. Tension skyrockets. The D summons Destiny hero, Plasma, a menacing monster possessed by the light of destruction, still imprisoning Aster's father's soul. The duel turns into a full-blown exorcism. With Dark Angel as his final weapon, Aster activates Dark City, destroys D-Force, and Celestial delivers the finishing blow. Plasma falls, souls are freed, and the D vanishes. Of course, vowing to return. A mysterious messenger arrives, revealing that Jaden holds a key linked to a mind control satellite. But the real twist, that key was handed to him by Sartorius himself, or rather, his benevolent angel persona. Now Jaden must face off against Prince Ojin, a pawn of Sartorius's darker half. The duel is wild. Ojin unleashes satellite cannons, Union attack, and all kinds of heavy artillery. Jaden counters with Miracle Fusion, summoning Shining Flare Wingman. When Ojin fires off his ultimate laser blast, Jaden fires back with Reflector Ray, turning the tables for an epic win. But the drama's not over. Ojin spirals into despair until Linda pulls him back with Disney-level friendship magic. Jaden moves on, but Sartorius is still scheming. In a dramatic leap from a helicopter, Aster heads to confront Sartorius, who's now gone full Prophet of Light. But plot twist, the Light's chosen one isn't Aster, it's Jaden. The mission now? Protect him at all costs. The duel ignites with Arcana forces and Destiny heroes clashing in a cosmic showdown. Sartorius plays his trump card, Arcana Force 21, the world. Aster holds strong. Fate trembles, but his soul remains unshaken. With Dr. D, he revives fallen monsters and turns the tide. Sartorius counters by summoning Arcana Force 15, the Fiend, pulling Aster into a mental realm where he reveals he always knew he would be corrupted. Back on the field, Aster activates Plasma and D-Force, a living wall of defiance. Sartorius answers with the Light Ruler, but in the climax, Aster realizes his true role, to pass the torch to Jaden. Even in defeat, he plants the seed of hope. Aster, always the confident heartthrob of the duel arena, shows up broken, eyes wide, like he's seen the end of the universe. Then, he drops the bomb. Sartorius has been taken over by an alien alien entity, the infamous Light of Destruction, and he's out to conquer the cosmos. And the key to the apocalypse? Yeah, it's with Jaden, of course. In a scene straight out of a B-movie, Sartorius makes his grand entrance alongside Arcana, a goddess of chaos, delivering an ultimatum: hand over the key, or say goodbye to Aster. Jaden freezes, but just in time, he's saved by a cosmic intervention. Neos, his spiritual hero, appears and reveals the truth. The light can only be defeated by darkness. The duel kicks off. Sartorius twists fate itself with possessed cards and apocalyptic motivational speeches, but Jaden hits back with his elemental heroes and summons Shining Flare Wingman, but Sartorius activates that cursed light barrier. The result? Nullified attacks, and a villain who looks like the CEO of world domination. But Jaden's not the type to give up. He fuses Neos with Glow Moss to create Glow Neos. The light barrier shatters, and Sartorius finally starts to lose his cool. Then Jaden hits him with a speech. This is supposed to be about fun, not toxic light and control. Glow Neos strikes. The satellite still looms over the planet, now with a doomsday countdown straight out of a blockbuster. Hasselberry has a full-on dino epiphany, channels his inner T-Rex, and charges off with the team to save the world. Jaden faces off against Sartorius, now just a puppet of the light. The duel heats up with Arcana Force 1 and the dreaded Light Ruler. Neos makes a comeback, heroes unite, and the whole thing turns into a cosmic-scale showdown. Serena, once a villain, shows up in full redemption mode and drops the line: destroy the satellite now. Jaden activates Reverse of Neos and finishes with a definitive strike. Sartorius snaps out of his trance and even gets a bonus Zen moment. With the world saved, Ches is crowned tournament champion. Yep, the tournament was going on through all of that, cause clearly it's just as important as saving the world. The Resistance celebrates, and Serena leaves in a dramatic helicopter exit, wind in her hair and all. And Jaden, he wraps it up with the classic, get your game on. Adrian's so bored on the ship that if he had a brick for company, he'd already have given it a name and social security number. His only companion, Jim Cook, and his ever-charming Crocodile. Once back at Duel Academy, Hasselberry finds out Cyrus is now an Obelisk Blue, basically the CEO of the friend group, rocking new glasses and acting like he just launched a lifestyle brand. That night, Jaden dreams all his friends turn to stone, and as a bonus, some weird voice starts calling him to come play. The next day, he meets Jesse Anderson. Instant connection. Turns out they both see spirit monsters. Ruby and Caribou greet each other like two pets who totally met in a past life. Bromance activated. At the opening ceremony, it's revealed that duel academies now exist all around the world, gathering the best duelists like regional boy bands. Jesse represents the North and brings with him the Crystal Beasts, cards that turn into literal crystals on the field. Cheds tries to drop a bizarre Roman history theory about it, but no one's paying attention. Then Viper, the new teacher with a name straight out of a soap opera villain lineup, proposes a duel between Jaden and Jesse. It starts strong, but quickly turns into a masterclass on the new mechanics. Crystal Beasts don't die. They just become magical decorations. Jaden is fascinated by Jesse's bond with his cards. The energy shifts. It's clear this is more than just a duel. It's a spiritual connection. Aster and Hasselberry watch from the VIP section, speculating that Pegasus saw Jesse being chosen by the cards. Kind of like a Harry Potter wand moment. During the duel, Jesse almost summons Rainbow Dragon, but it turns out he doesn't even have the card yet. Total bait. New mission unlocked. Find the legendary card. Meanwhile, Viper watches from the shadows and reveals his sinister plan. From now on, duels will fuel his secret experiment. Because of course, draining teenagers' emotional energy is totally educational. It all kicks off at the school's card shop. Jaden and the crew are living the booster pack dream when in walks Axel Brody, anime's answer to Rambo. This guy treats dueling like a military mission. Enter Viper, who rolls out the bioband system, a wristband that measures fighting spirit, and turns the school into a survival reality show. If you don't shine, you're out. Axel kidnaps Cyrus and challenges Jaden to a high-stakes duel. Lose, and your buddy takes a dive off a cliff. Jaden flips the switch into protector mode. Meanwhile, Viper watches with glee, draining bioband energy like a chakra vampire. During the duel, Axel unleashes his Blaze Accelerator, turning the field into a war zone. Jaden realizes Axel is also a pawn in Viper's twisted game, but that doesn't stop him from unleashing the nuclear combo. Try Blaze Accelerator plus 3 volcanic scatter shots. Jaden almost turns into barbecue. Then comes the classic protagonist clutch. Flare Neos backed by Elemental Mirage. Finishing blow, guaranteed win. And of course, a dramatic collapse. That's when Fontaine realizes it's not just exhaustion, the bioband is draining the kid's soul. Viper watches from the shadows like a textbook mad scientist, and Axel starts to suspect he might have boarded the wrong train. Jaden wakes up in the hospital like he just took a nap, even though he nearly turned into a lithium battery. Jesse walks in with a wild rumor. Jaden Jaden's retired. Wait, what? Meanwhile, Shirley, Jim's crocodile, completely loses it and attacks Hasselberry. Why? Dinosaur DNA. Because of course. The result? A primal duel. Jim takes the win with skull geos, but both duelists pass out. Just another typical day at Duel Academy. Then Viper shows up again and finally confirms what everyone's been suspecting. The biobands are energy drainers, and the students, guinea pigs. Everyone starts realizing they've basically been acting as a power bank for Viper's master plan. Out of nowhere, Adrian shows up and fights Viper like he got summoned by mistake. Axel holds the door in that classic, I'm about to become a martyr move. Outside, Viper invites Jaden to a solo duel at the top of the tower. Field spell activated, Venom Swamp, with poison levels rivaling a blue shell in Mario Kart. The final showdown between Viper and Jaden kicks off, with trauma, flashbacks, and a heavy dose of daddy issues. Viper's desperate plan to bring his son back using the energy of the Boy of Light. The catch? The kid's pure evil and hell-bent on revenge. Jaden summons Marine Neos, but the script calls for a dramatic pause. Viper unleashes Venomenon, who dies and comes back like a cockroach. Then comes the real shock. Jaden is the final piece in Viper's dark ritual, even after taking down Venomenon. Viper summons Venomenaga, a monster with a deadly effect set to trigger in just 3 turns. Jaden freezes, but Jesse steps in, bromance blazing. And miraculously, he manages to summon elemental hero Magma Neos, the hero who wipes the field clean with the explosive meteor burst. Viper loses, but in his defeat, he believes he'll finally see his son, only to be greeted by the true puppet master, a cosmic entity, final boss level RPG style. It reveals Viper was just a pawn all along. In the end, Duel Academy Island vanishes, swallowed by a mystical desert. Jim, Alexis, and the others are lost. Monsters rain from the sky. Jesse summons Sapphire Pegasus, and it appears for real, no holograms this time. Adrian shifts into mysterious villain mode, keeping the reactor running and forging a dark pact. Bastion and Eisenstein reveal the truth. They're in a dimension where card spirits roam free, and they attack. Blair is ambushed. Marcel vanishes. The enemy is lurking. Jaden, Jesse, Axel, and Jim cross dimensions carrying medicine for Blair. Jaden takes the lead, laser focused. Along the way, zombie duelists appear. Beat one, he comes back. It's an endless zombie cycle. Ches hoards the food, and tensions boil over. Marcel re-emerges as the villain, leading the zombie duelists. Ches and Cyrus fall and become part of the horde. Blair's condition worsens. Jaden pushes on alone, full-on stubborn protagonist mode. Meanwhile, the infirmary turns into a siege zone. Miss Fontaine holds the line. Time is running out, and chaos reigns. Pegasus and company arrive at the Rainbow Dragon tablet, but Echo and the Gecko group sees everything. Adrian, now obsessed, reveals himself as the latest villain of the arc. Marcel shows up wielding the 3 sacred beasts, just to strike fear. Adrian faces off against his own ego in an internal duel. It was all a test by Marcel to see how far his ambition would go. Jaden escapes with help from Winged Caribou, and races to the arena where Jesse and Zane are dueling to generate energy. Jesse and Zane manage to open the portal using dual energy, but time is running out, and the dual ghouls are closing in fast. That's when Jaden steps up and faces Marcel. If he wins, everyone goes free. If he loses, they all become puppets. Meanwhile, Jesse is on a mission to find the Rainbow Dragon. He locates it and calls upon its power. The card responds, Jesse has been chosen. Back at the duel, Marcel sends the 3 beasts to the graveyard, and the field turns into something straight out of an exorcism, but with cards. Jesse joins Jaden, and the duel becomes a tag match. Watching from a distance, Blair senses that the worst may be yet to come. Marcel summons the 3 sacred beasts, while Jesse gives it his all, ending in a draw. Jaden steps up and summons Chaos Mios, nullifying Uriah. Blair tries to help Marcel, but discovers he's been possessed by Yubel, a villain, harboring deep resentment toward Jaden. At the height of the duel, Yubel summons Armityle the Chaos Phantom with a staggering 10,000 attack. Jesse sacrifices himself using Prism Wall, and Rainbow Dragon detonates everything with overdrive. In the end, Jesse vanishes, the others escape, and Jaden is left carrying the pain of loss. Yubel remains at large, more powerful than ever. Jaden starts looking for Jesse, isolating himself and shutting out his friends. Alexis, Ches, and the others are captured by Gold, Silva, and Braun, who intend to harness negative emotions for a dark ritual. Jaden finds his friends chained up but hesitates to attack. afraid of hurting them. Meanwhile, Cyrus tries to help, but is captured as well. Almost the entire group is now under the villain's control. Jaden is forced to make a choice: save his friends or risk everything in a duel. Braun blames Jaden for all the misfortunes, and now the duel is personal. Jaden is mentally shattered, battling not only monsters but his own guilt. Cyrus, once a loyal friend, now holds him directly responsible. Zane intervenes, saving Cyrus from an attack and reigniting his courage. With a new resolve, Cyrus sets out on a mission to save Jaden from the darkness. The Earth has become a post-apocalyptic wasteland under the rule of the Supreme King. Jim and Axel search for Jaden. After fending off bounty hunters, they learn that Jaden has been captured and transformed into the Supreme King himself. Jim duels Kozaki and emerges victorious, only to find the village has been destroyed. In the final scene, Jim comes face to face with Jaden, but he's no longer the friend they once knew. He's the King of Darkness. Using the True Eye, Jim sees that his friend is still somewhere inside. The duel is brutal, both physically and psychologically. Jim drags Jaden into a mental dimension, forcing him to confront his traumas and Yubel's influence. Jim pleads with him, sacrifices himself, and manages to make Jaden hesitate. A glimmer of light begins to shine through, even if only faintly. The duel isn't over yet, but something deep inside Jaden has started to awaken. Still, he refuses to give up. At the climax, Jaden almost breaks through, but then he uses super polymerization and defeats Jim. Watching from afar, Axel witnesses everything, and fear creeps in. For one brief moment, the real Jaden answered. Supreme King soldiers storm a house. Aster appears, captures one of them, and uncovers the truth. Jaden is the king. Axel wrestles with guilt, but reunites with Cyrus and wins a crucial duel, regaining his confidence. He heads to the prison camp, where he discovers the leader is a traitor. He doesn't fight out of revenge, but because someone has to fight. Axel defeats an enemy and takes charge of the resistance. Alongside Zane, Aster, and others, he devises a plan to storm the king's castle. Axel reaches Jaden and challenges him. During the duel, the weight of the past bears down on both of them. Axel holds his ground. Then, piercing through the darkness, a single phrase:
Jesse is alive! Jesse is alive! He's alive!
Axel ends the match in a draw with volcanic counter, and that's all it takes. Jaden collapses, defeated from within. But the war isn't over. Jesse's eyes. There's something wrong. Suddenly, Jesse returns, but now as her agent. Despite his failing health, Zane challenges Jesse. Though weakened, he gives it everything he's got. Summoning Cyber End Dragon, Jesse survives. Zane doesn't. The fallout is devastating. Jaden swears he will defeat Yubel. For Zane, for Jesse, for the world. Adrian appears, summoning ancient gods to challenge Yubel, but is obliterated. Meanwhile, Jaden can feel it. Jesse is still in there somewhere. The final battle is drawing near. The real blow comes when Yubel coldly reveals to Adrian that he sacrificed Echo. He's paralyzed by the truth. Meanwhile, Jaden senses Jesse's presence and plunges into memories of the past he shares with Yubel. Adrian makes one last effort to turn the tide, but Yubel unleashes her final form and crushes him. By the time Jaden arrives, the damage is done. Jaden steps up to duel, while she throws all his past losses back at him. The Neo-Spatians appear, reigniting Jaden's resolve. He uses polymerization, even after being reminded of the Supreme King. He realizes Jesse might be trapped within the Rainbow Dark Dragon. Upon hearing Jesse's voice, their bond is rekindled. Jaden enters his season finale hero mode and makes a vow. He will save his friend, even if it means facing his own pain. Yubel forces Jaden to fight against Jesse. Rainbow Dark Dragon attacks, and Jesse, still under Yubel's control, cries out for help. Jaden summons Storm Neos to shatter the shadowy battlefield and free the crystal beasts. Jesse regains his senses, but the real duel is just beginning. Jaden faces off against his past self with super polymerization. Rainbow Neos is born. A blinding light erupts. Jesse is saved, but Yubel steals the card and pulls them both into oblivion. The duel is far from over. In oblivion, Jaden demands Jesse's release. Yubel reveals their past with him. Abandonment, resentment, a twisted longing for connection through pain. Cyrus breaks into the dimension and manages to talk to Ches. During the duel, Jaden summons his elemental heroes, while Yubel plays cards infused with sorrow and guilt. When Cyrus shouts that Jaden is the Supreme King, king, he embraces his shadow self. Now, he's ready to face Yugioh, not as an enemy, but as a part of his own story. Jaden activates Neo Space Wave and summons the Neo-Spatians. Yugioh strikes with everything she has, but he stands his ground. He responds, accepts his mistakes, and summons Rainbow Neos. With their fusion, he declares, friendship overcomes all pain, but soon realizes she doesn't want to win. She just wants to be heard. At the climax, he fuses with Yugioh using super polymerization.
We're not going to be alone anymore, Yugioh.
Jaden departs, leaving everything behind, not as someone running away, but as the guardian of the dimensions. He became a legend. After the battle with Yugioh, Jaden is but a shadow of his former self. Silent, brooding, the perfect lead for a gothic drama. Life at the Academy continues as if nothing ever happened, but dual discs begin to malfunction, cards go haywire, and Ches takes it upon himself to investigate. That's when the dark archetype appears, a nightmare-fueled monster that Jaden faces without a catchphrase or battle cry, just the crushing weight of his trauma. With the power of Neo's force, he emerges victorious, not just in the duel, but over the pain he's been carrying. Fujiwara tries to reconnect, acting like a long-lost friend, but Jaden shuts him down. I don't remember you. Jaden is emotionally shattered and quits Duel Academy in full-on running from his own soul mode, but the apocalypse doesn't take a day off. Pagamaru and Sartorius warn that the island is about to explode, and who's supposed to stop it? The kid who can barely get out of bed. Enter Truman, a harbinger of the end, who summons the meteor black dragon. Neos hits the field, and every strike lands like an existential punch. The duel ends on a chilling to be continued. Fujiwara reappears, shrouded in unresolved mystery. Jaden discovers he was used as a test subject in a darkness experiment. He turns to Achikis, who agrees to confront the demons of his past. The duel of souls begins. Darkness Metal Dragon versus Neos. The intensity hits World Cup final levels. Achikis resists the darkness and hands over Fujiwara's artifact, a key to a greater secret. But Fujiwara appears again. Something's off in his eyes. Is he even real? One clue remains. A name. Honest. Cyrus watches his brother get crushed by a suicidal deck. Determined, he takes up the burden, even though he has no idea how to handle the explosive card he's inherited. As always, Jaden drops one of his horoscope-style gems of wisdom. Stop trying to be the Zane. Feel the deck. Inspired, Cyrus starts building something new. In a duel against a ruthless psycho-duelist, he gets absolutely wrecked, until he turns the tide by fusing his cyber darks with the Dragonroid. He wins, but more than that, he finds himself. He's no longer Zane's little brother. He's Cyrus, a duelist in his own right. Zane sees it, recognizes it. They both shine, and it's beautiful. Jaden arrives in a ghost town called No Good News. There, he encounters Sartorius, who is supposed to be dead. Sartorius reveals that everything is under the control of darkness, and to make it out alive, Jaden must lose. Sartorius rigs Jaden's deck, slipping in the useless Arcana Force. The Fool, a card that traps itself on the field, but even backed into a corner, Jaden refuses to give up. He sees someone in Sartorius who's still worth saving, even if Sartorius himself doesn't believe it. The city crackles with tension. Sartorius unleashes his Messiah of Chaos mode, but he strikes back with winged Karibo, carving a path for a counterattack. Then, Serena, the spirit of Sartorius' sister, appears and pleads, "Save my brother." That's when Jaden sees the real enemy, despair. His final strategy builds to miracle contact, and elemental hero Magma Neos blows everything away. Sartorius breaks down. Serena and he share a heartfelt farewell, as friendly ghosts do, but the peace is short-lived. Duel Academy turns into a Black Mirror episode. Students vanish. Memories fade. Achikis starts the day with a light heart, but a dark presence looms. The threat becomes real when darkness appears, not to duel, but to erase entire existences. Anyone not remembered will vanish. The darkness quite literally devours memories. Achikis tries to write down his memories, but he starts forgetting the people he loves the most. Darkness arrives to erase his soul, just as Ches steps forward to stand and fight. The duel is psychological. Darkness targets Achikis' deepest insecurities, but it's the memory of Alexis and the support from Jaden and Jesse that pull him back from the edge. He is reborn, wielding the legendary Red Eyes Black Dragon, a symbol of memory's enduring power. The turning point comes with a shocking reveal. The true master of darkness is Yusuke Fujiwara, a background figure who had always lurked in the shadows, orchestrating everything. After Achikas's fall, Jaden is devastated. Upon discovering that Fujiwara is a host for darkness, he decides to face him head-on to save him. The battle is intense. Jaden, Jesse, and Fujiwara duel under the effect of the Clear World card, which punishes each player based on their deepest traumas. Darkness exploits their emotional weaknesses, but Jaden reaches out to Jesse through words and friendship. The ultimate shonen combo. With their bond restored, the two take on Fujiwara with everything they've got. Even against the fearsome Clear Vice Dragon, they hold their ground. The duel intensifies. Fujiwara summons the apocalyptic Clear Vice Dragon. Jaden hangs on by a thread until Jesse arrives with Rainbow Dragon. The battle turns into an emotional clash as Fujiwara manipulates attributes and forces friends to face off against one another. Jaden refuses to succumb to despair. With Honest and Jesse by his side, he performs a never-before-seen fusion. Rainbow Neos. Fujiwara counters with Clear Vicious Knight, but Jaden pierces through the darkness with a final decisive strike. Fujiwara realizes that emptiness brings no peace. Yet even in defeat, the eclipse lingers. Jaden vows to protect the feelings that make the world worth living in. Even in victory, the world feels empty. Jaden finds Earth desolate and comes face to face with the true darkness, the original nihilistic entity that sees the shadow world as a mirror of the human heart. The final duel begins. Darkness plays the 0 and infinity cards, cornering Jaden. But then, Yugioh appears, not as a villain, but as a spiritual guide. Jaden embraces both his light and darkness, and through super polymerization, summons Neos Wiseman, a balanced entity. And by using Black Panther's effect, he weakens darkness. As the battle rages, Jaden delivers a heartfelt speech, trying to awaken his friends lost in the shadows. Jaden summons elemental hero God Neos, the symbol of everything he's become. With one decisive attack, he defeats darkness. The villain warns he might return one day, but the weight lifts. The Academy wakes from the nightmare. Graduation arrives with cheers, hugs, and that heartwarming emotional chaos. Alexis, Ches, and Cyrus turn down the offer of Yugi's deck. They'd rather keep their own cards, worn with defeats and lessons learned. Speeches are given, nostalgia runs high, but Jaden, he vanishes at the end of the celebration. Then, someone unexpected appears, Winged Karibo. It guides him to Yugi's deck, and to Yugimoto himself. The final duel begins. Flame Wingman versus Dark Magician. The outcome doesn't matter. The message is clear. The bonds forged in duels are eternal. The clash is more psychological than physical. Jaden falters, remembering why he started dueling in the first place. Fun. And with that, he's reborn. Shining Flare Wingman, Magma Neos, raw emotion on the field. The duel reaches its peak with the appearance of Slifer the Sky Dragon, but Jaden faces it without fear. There is no winner, only mutual respect. He returns home with a lighthearted smile. The real prize? Rediscovering his love for the game.